see right here, and this is where it's really warm. And then in videos, it's in a short video I made, there's like a shape, but that showed up. My arm actually started aching. Or yes, I'll just say hi. I'm the alien goddess. Yeah, I went with my dragon beans last night, and I went through a let's just say a bone marrow procedure with them, and I woke up with this. It's kind of bruised, and I swear I didn't touch myself, I didn't pinch myself. I literally, and even as I was like going through the experience in my head, there were so many amazing things that happened. Even when I was going through the experience in my head, and as I was getting ready to fall asleep, they were walking me through it. I could already, like, it was just sort of like it was better because I had my guide Mary with me. I actually didn't get her DNA. I got a guy, or a male, called Archie, because he is what they call an original descendant, and when they took my blood out and they tested it, and what they do is they pull a little bit of your like your marrow out, and then they mix their, I'm not going to give away their secrets, but they mix, let's just say they add the code, the genes into it, and then they inject it back into your arm. My arm is hot, super hot right here, and when you zoom into the picture, there's this strange, I don't know, it looks sort of like a squared, like it looks sort of like an N or a C. I don't really know, like if you zoom in, but right here, yeah. And it's kind of bruised this morning. I did not do this to myself, guys, but I will walk you through the entire experience. It was nuts. I was awake for most of it, even at some points when so I got Archie's blood, or I got Archie's genes, because me and him actually, so we were in that lab, and then I already knew it was happening, and then I wish I could remember. I do remember some of so then we quote unquote like partied afterwards. Partied meaning that we were all, it was me, and there were two other people with me. I was not alone. There was another girl and there was another guy. And the guy was actually receiving his genetic stuff from an older looking lady, because I looked over. I was only under like general anesthesia. They had the thing in my nose. And then the girl was actually receiving it from a younger looking, probably like 14-year-old looking boy. And basically we went into the lab, and they have these like sequencing, obviously. And so this is my final activation. I agreed to finish the activation process completely, and they showed me everything. They were upfront about everything, and then I was with my plasma beans. But I am not doubting it anymore. I'm in shock. I went into actual shock once, and then I was in shock because I kept hearing his voice in my head. He was like rubbing my forehead. And he was like, "You're in shock, calm down. You're in shock, calm down." And I swear, like on my life, on my kids' lives even, I didn't do this to myself, and I would never swear on my kids. I woke up, my arm started aching during the process last night. I could feel the ache, and then I had this weird separation that happened where they literally implanted a memory, or this is what I mean when I told you they operate outside of, they have such amazing, so they physically took my body, a freaking doorway opened up in my room, and they physically like took my body, and I was talking with Mary, my guide, and then Archie didn't come in until the process after testing my blood, or testing my genes, because they go through like this rigorous process to make sure that it's gonna match up, you know, so you don't, because you know you could get sick and whatever, it's whatever. And you can call me crazy, but this was my experience, and I literally woke up and my arm is hot, and you can see there's like a slight bruising right here, and this is where it's really sore, and there's like a mark from, I'm assuming, where the where the needle went, because that's exactly, I was shown the whole process. I don't even care if my nose bleeds anymore. I mean, it'll just further confirm. But yeah, it's so sore. It's so achy. It's only this arm. This spot is radiating like heat and pain. And you can sort of see the bruise. Yeah, and it's very hot to the touch. I got a bone marrow injection last night by my dragon my dragon guides. I call them dragons. I guess you can, I don't know if you call them like reptilians, like I said, has such a bad rap. I'm still in shock. Like, I'm still in shock that I literally, so as the process was going on, let me tell you how they can insert memory. They can insert, you know, the best way I can describe this is, you know, when people talk about in abductions that they just wake up in the middle of a field and they have no idea where they got there. It's sort of like that, except for I literally was, and at one point he had to tell me to let go because I was holding on, my consciousness was split in two places, and he only told me to let go after I was in shock, because I will walk you through the whole process, but you can't make this shit up. Like, I literally we went to that gene sequencing facility. There was a bunch of people there. There was like 5 there. Okay, so there was like, it was very after what I could see when they opened it up or everything, it like it very much looked like sort of like a doctor's office. I don't know how to explain it. Like an ancient like ancient mixed with doctor's office, because they had like these stone slabs, and they even warmed up the stone, like they warmed up the stone slabs that we were laying on, and it was in this chamber, and it's the one that opened when I passed out. It looked very similar to that. I don't know if it was the same exact one or not, but that's what it looked like to me. And then seriously, I guess I just should start from the beginning. So, and I'm still in shock. I still can't believe my arm is aching, is hot, is sore, has like a strange bruise on it, is like very hot in one spot, and all I did was go to sleep. I went to sleep, and then I also had this experience where I wasn't sleeping. Okay, so I'm laying there. I got out of the shower. I'll walk you through the whole thing. They told me that it was going to happen tonight, and I was like, awesome. They call it a receiving of the blood procedure slash ritual. And I'm not going to get too far into detail. And so I'm laying there and I'm anxious, but I'm talking to, so then I'm like reaching out. I'm like, Mary, oh my gosh, like I need more details. I'm nervous. And like I'm reaching out telepathically in my mind. And she starts walking me through it. She's like, it's not, all you're gonna feel is like an ache. Like there's gonna be no pain. All you're gonna feel is like an ache. We're gonna bring you in to this room. And so what we're going to do is basically the moment where you start to fall asleep, we're going to put you to sleep, but then we're also going to come and get you. Literally, they opened up a door. This is what it looked like. They opened up a door in my room, walked right through it, scooped me up because they put my body to sleep, but my consciousness was awake. Wait, no, this was when he was bringing me back. It gets a little fuzzy on, all I remember is opening up a door and we went through it. I can't remember if they were carrying me, but I do know consciously I was awake, so I remember we were going through the door. And I believe that they were. So my brain was awake, but my body was like asleep, in the sense that they gave me some sort of like sedation, or they sedated me somehow. Anyway, so let's just say what I remember. So what I remember is I got carried through this door. We entered in. They had all these lights on. Like it was sort of bright inside the cavern, but it looked like the same gene sequencing type, like doctor's office room that I opened up. It was me, Mary. There were 2 other people going through this procedure on next to me, and then there was also a couple other dragon beings that were working. They had brought in, they had samples of every type of like I don't know if it was blood or if it was marrow and blood, but basically they had all of these samples in this they set them up and they put them inside, because they were like halfway setting up this room. It was pretty new because I feel like it's the one that just opened. And and literally they were like setting up all these samples that they have, so they keep whenever someone completes the transition, and or there's the originals. So I tried to take Mary's, like, so Mary was gonna sort of be like my creator. Like I was gonna be, or I don't know how to use these words. I was basically going to have Mary's DNA or whatever, because I'm trying to keep this part, because this part, is private. But I was basically going to be given a gift from her genetically. Let's say that, the gift, okay? But when they took me in and I was laying on the bed, and also they have these like they warmed up the stone so it wasn't cold, and they made the stone warm up, so we're all, me, the guy and the girl that are all getting these transfusions, or whatever you want to call them. Let's just call them a transfusion, but let's just say that's not exactly true. We were all getting these transfusions. My mind and consciousness is awake. As soon as he set me on the stone, see, I can't remember. I feel like I walked in the first time. So I walked through the doorway, but my mind was awake, but my body was asleep. Okay, through the doorway. But then when he set me on the stone inside this room, and Archie was there, so he was like one of the dragon beings assisting with this process. And he actually came to get me because he carried me like this. And we went through the doorway. And I didn't know that he had what they're calling original genes, or like ties to like original. They just said that it was original because I couldn't take Mary's. So when they put it, and they were testing it, so then they had this like setup. Let me tell you where it got really trippy, if this isn't trippy enough for you. There was a point where I literally, my physical body, like, oh, it's so hot. And this arm is totally fine. But it's so hot and it's sore right here. And yeah, I took ibuprofen. And she even said 2 weeks, and I even Googled something and it said, yeah, it takes about 2 weeks for like it to fully heal after this procedure. Okay. And I made sure that I activated my like I called forth my soul, my plasma light, my light beings were all around me. They were guarding me, cuz I got nervous, cuz I was like, I got nervous before all of this. So then there's a point where he literally, somebody, I think it was Archie, tapped me on the head and literally gave me, so this is crazy. The whole thing's crazy, but it is what it is. This is real life. Like, we go, and if you have you know, hybrid, or if you have active DNA aspects that are able to be a part of experiments and stuff, and you know, you hear about these experiments where people were you know, go through the paralysis thing back in the day. That's more of like a gray thing, and maybe like a Nordic thing. This is very much voluntary. This is very much this was all my choice. And I knew about this. Like I said, that's when they told me it was going to happen last night, and I was like, oh my gosh. So there was one point where he literally gave me he literally gave my brain this separating of implanting a memory of I'm still in bed asleep, but I wasn't, okay? And I know because he also still had this like control over me and my body slightly right after I got back from or right after I came back from the procedure, because at one point I literally got up and I took allergy medicine, and I don't know why I did that. I don't know. And I took 3 ibuprofen because I kept saying, as soon as this started, I got a really bad headache, and or ended. So it got really weird between time and space. Anyways, he inserted a memory, or a thought. He inserted a thought into my brain while I was sitting there going through this, and my body was with them, that once they put the local anesthesia in my nose, and that just looked normal. That was like a tube. Because I said I don't want to feel pain. Like, I don't want to feel pain. At that point, I was like in and out of consciousness with them, but then he also made me think that I was still in my bed asleep. Yeah. And my consciousness was in 2 places. I was in bed asleep, and I was getting this done at the same time. I don't know how long we were there. I do know that there was like a quote unquote party that happened afterwards, which wasn't exactly a party. It was, well, I guess during the procedure it got a little bumpy. So at one point, I was sitting there, and I look over and I'm watching this guy, and then this guy receive his gift from an older looking lady, and then I look over and I see this girl that's about around my age, and she's actually receiving her gift from a younger looking boy, like I don't know, 14, 15. But they were already, obviously you can't give a gift that you don't have. Like, I'm just speaking sort of in metaphor right now. And so then they pull some of it out. They actually remove some of it. They go over to this machine and they're testing it, and they're testing it against like every single sample thing that they have to find the best match, the most symbiotic pairing. Okay. So we all thought that Mary was giving me the gift, but when they tested mine against Mary, it wasn't, it was like it wasn't matching up seamlessly, you know, the blending, or like the connection was a little bit off. And so what it looked like to me is they had my marrow and obviously my blood that was in it, and they put it with the gift, let's just say gifts. And then they threw it, like it was like in this box, and somehow it was like there was an attraction. Now I don't know if there was like frequencies going through this thing or not. But basically, if it's a match, then it will be attracted and it will blend and become one, like really like quickly. If so, what happened was they put her gift in there with mine. It's like aching. And nothing happened. There was no reaction. And then about five, like, that time's a little hazy because I'm like looking over and watching this. And because I told him I want to be a part of everything as much as I possibly could. So I have the thing in my they're just giving me very, very light anesthesia at this point, because I don't need to be knocked out yet, or, you know, I don't need to have very much. It was pretty light anesthesia anyway. It was just to take the pain away, because they are going into your bone marrow, and it's not the most comfortable thing if you've ever had that happen. I have never had this happen. First time I'm having it happen was with my alien guides, or my alien, I don't even want to call them guides, because when you think guides you think they're not real, but these guys are real. I literally have the freaking mark on my arm to prove it. Oh my gosh. And the soreness. Okay, and so it sat there, let's say for 2 or 3 minutes, nothing happened. Then all of a sudden it connected and there was like a match. But everyone was hesitant. They were talking about it. They were like, I don't know if that's the best thing, because it took a long time to connect. Because then what happened is I look over and it separated, and then it could not reconnect. So then they're like, oh, well, we can't use Mary's. And as this is happening, they have all these sequences pulled up, and they're like going through matching my sequence and whatever I have with their database and trying to basically find my like lineage, find my, because they have their dragon ancestors and they have the truth of that, so they know who has the right amount of the right DNA connection for you. And so then I repelled. So then they give this each like a couple of minutes, like they find the best match and then they test it. So then I had this repelling where me and Mary's literal, like, it was not symbiotic, it was like it was repelling. So then they start testing mine further. So then they run more tests on mine and they realize that I have original, I don't know what the fuck this means, original genes. So then they go through their samples and they find an original. Well, it just so happens that then Archie comes back, and Archie is an original descendant, so he has the match or whatever. So Archie comes back, and I remember him. I'm like, oh, you're the guy that carried me in here. He's like, hi, and he's English. He has like strawberry blonde hair. He has the obviously the reptilian eyes, and they're and like pale skin, but we actually look pretty similar. We look, and he has gray eyes too. We look pretty similar except for the fact that he has sort of like strawberry blonde hair. Like, it's not red, it's not blonde, it's like somewhere in the middle. But all these people, all these beings, or all these guys around us, all have the, like, you can clearly see they have like the dragon eyes, and they're showing, and they have like taller petite builds, or slender builds, and we look very similar. They're not super tall, but they're not short, and yeah, and they're very graceful, and yeah, so but they're all looking at you with their dragon eyes, like their dragon eyes are out. So any interaction we're having, like with Mary, she has like the dragon eyes going on. If you catch them at certain glimpses, the skin, it looks like more it becomes like a little more transparent, and then like underneath you can see like these sort of, they're really pretty. Like a little bit of like these scaly patterns and stuff. I think what I got the impression of is that they are hybrids, and they are also, so they've been perfecting this process so that we look more and more and more human, but we also can have, we have like we can have like a shift that happens, or we have like underlying dragon DNA qualities, or features and stuff. Anyways, so that's the thought I got, is that they have perfected this process that we all just look really pretty and really human, but we have like slightly different features and slightly different things. And then if you kind of, and that's what this whole process was about, was finishing the activation. So there's been so many activations that's happened that my stuff was already lit up, and other people's, because there were other people there with me, is already lit up, and we already had the connection, so we were like the perfect candidates to go through and finish the process and actually adapt more of our, which is going to be fun and interesting, more of our dragon qualities. Anyways, so long story short, Archie walks back in, and he's like, I am an original descendant as well. I will be giving the gift to you, not Mary. Okay. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then after he was chosen for me, He was very attentive, and he was with me through the whole process. Like, they don't give their gifts lightly. It's like a bond that's formed in a way. You know, they realize that it's not super emotional, but it's also a gift, like a gift is being given, you know, and they treat it like that, with like happiness and reverence and stuff. um and so Archie walks in, he adds his and they showed me the process, and they even showed me what it looks like. But I'm not going to share that. That seems like very personal, but it looks there are a few slight differences anyways. And I think each of their samples has their marrow and blood, and they actually go through and they set up it's like a process that happens, but I won't share that detail. But anyways, but I do believe it has, I don't know if it's just their blood, just their marrow, whatever. But then they go through the process, and when it's a match, there's an instant attraction. So they put it in this box, and I think there's like frequencies or something going through this box. And so basically, if it merges into one, it's a match. So there was no delay, nothing. It was a match. It was like a perfect match. He was an original descendant, so I guess that's what I am. And he was the one that gave me the gift. Now, right at this point, I'm like telling them I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel pain after the match is going on. If you know me, I am like that. If I could get knocked out, I would literally go under anesthesia for the dentist. Like, I don't want to feel pain. I had enough pain as a kid. My whole childhood felt like just nothing but pain and fear. I don't want to feel pain, okay? And if I'm trying to relax and enjoy this process. So then I'm looking over, and everyone else is kind of going through their process. They're stable, they're sitting there, they're awake. Basically they take a little bit out, and then they mix it with whatever they mix it with, and then they put it back in like this tubey thing, and they inject it back into your arm. Back into your marrow, mixed with the gift that you have just been given. That was happening. So I did go into shock. I went into actual shock once, and then I went into like mental shock. Okay. So after they put it back in your arm and it's becoming active or whatever. Okay, guys, I'm just wrapping this up because my kids just came home. But yeah, so anyways, there was that process that happened, and then we went through then there was one point where they can literally put, I don't want to call it memories. Oh my god, my arm is aching so bad. I don't want to call it memories, but they can put thoughts into your head. They can make you think, literally, that you are still laying in bed, that you got up and got something to drink and then went back to bed, when you are not in bed. You are, well, in my case, you're with them somewhere else, but your brain thinks you are. So then when he did this, my consciousness split between staying with them and experiencing and watching what was going on, which I did for a few minutes. But then after I started going into shock, that's when he was like, you need to let go. This is too strenuous. You need to let go mentally and all you're gonna know is that you're back in bed asleep already. And that's exactly what happened. So right before I let go and my consciousness was split and he gave me this feeling, and then I literally felt his I literally felt his pull over me as soon as my consciousness thought that it was back in bed sleeping. I literally felt him say, because I talked about having a headache right away, like all of a sudden my head started like exploding. And then I talked about how my arm was sore, and then so as a couple of minutes in after I received the gift, let's call it that, um I remember laying there, and all of a sudden it's just like the room like collapsed and like opened up all at the same time, and my body started like flailing, and then there was this big burst of energy that came out of me, and then they're all around me at that point. And even my plasma being guides, they're like stabilizing the change by like they put like these things around my body to stabilize my body. And all I remember Archie looking at me with those amazing eyes, because I love gray eyes, and especially gray dragon eyes, because when our eyes, and I seen my eyes shift, like when my eyes shift, the gold pulls out a lot more, and the blue looks brighter and clearer, and it's awesome. And so he's looking at me, they're stabilizing my energy, and then they're like, okay, we need to like bring her, we need to like bring her brain, because at this point my brain is like thinking that I'm in bed asleep, but knowing that my body is not in bed. So my brain has been fed a thought that it knows is wrong. So my energy is being like strained. So and I'm aware of this. So then they get me restabilized again, and they crank up the sedative that they gave me, this sedative stuff. And then my body starts to go through the rest of the change, and I literally seen me like I seen like they showed me what I'll look like, and then I literally seen myself as I was changing. So like at first, so I knew what I look like. So then as this is going on, right, I'm like I'm like, my brain, everything is just like expanding, collapsing, my body's accepting this new code, but it doesn't feel new, it feels remembered. And it's starting to change and shift, which I will continue to do. I don't know if this is just a one-time thing or not, I didn't ask. Or if they like go in installments, but they did say that I'd be monitored very, very closely over the next 2 weeks, especially. And pretty much after 2 weeks, you're kind of out of the woods, is what they call it. And basically, it's up to my body to decide if it's going to accept it. Like if my body's like okay with it. They already said that I'm pretty well okay. They said that if I would have rejected it, it would have been pretty much like sometime last night. And it would have been pretty much instantaneous, like, of the rejection. But that's why they go through and they do all that heavy testing of attraction and matching up, and basically all I can say for the matching process is like you have a ladder, right? And you have like broken pieces. I don't necessarily think it's broken, but just go with it. And then this thing also has a ladder with full pieces, and it comes in and it replaces the pieces that were broken in your ladder, but your ladder is still active even though it's not fully built. Like, you can still climb up your ladder halfway, and then this comes in, and then you can climb up the ladder the rest of the way. Type of, that's the best way I can describe it. and and yeah, I mean, it's aching and throbbing, and oh my gosh, I have like a weird bruise, weird shit. It's a little bit bruised. And it kind of looks like a shape in a zoomed up picture. It sort of looks like an N or an H or a C, but it has like a, but I think that was just like the indent, because there was like I don't know, I'm not overthinking it. I'm not even worried about nosebleeds at this point, because I literally woke up with my arm on fire, aching, and literally I have a mark, and that's exactly, and everything I was shown last night is it happened. Like, and we inserted a thought that made you think you were in bed asleep, but we came through a door right over here. Right over here. Opened up a door in your room, walked through, picked up your body, and you were with us last night. I don't know where this gene sequencing base is. I don't know if it was in an actual place. I didn't feel like we were on a ship. I felt like we were sort of somewhere. I don't think it was a ship. I don't know if these guys have ships. I'm sure they do, but I don't really know, because it felt like we were back in this cave system that had been opened up and activated, and the one that specifically I was taken to when I had that crazy like blood hit the ceiling, deep vibration experience. But anyway, so as they get my energy stable and they bring me out of shock and my body starts to settle in, so then my body realized that it was okay, and my immune system wasn't trying to attack the sequence or the gift that was given to me. Once my body assimilated it, I came back out of shock, but then mentally I was so then my body was trying to, after it figured it out and it actually accepted the process, mentally, so at this point he's like, okay. And then my plasma beings were there, because I asked them to be with me through this whole thing. I even set the intention, guys. Like, no trickery, no deceiving. Like, this is what it is. This is everything I've agreed to. Like, if anything feels off, we are out of there. Like, I program my soul with this intention going into this. Everything. So then they get me calmed down, and then they crank up the sedative a little bit more, because they said the more relaxed and like super super relaxed you can get, the easier the process will be. And so I was like, okay, well, crank up the sedative. And he's like, okay. And then I'm like seeing myself in this process, and then also be seeing the mental image that I was getting of, I'm starting to get restless and roll around in my bed. So then my consciousness splits. It's in two different places. I look at him, I say I have a headache. He's like, okay, I'm basically going to give you the idea that you are going to go wake up in your bed. You're going to get up. You're going to get something to help you sleep deeply the rest of the night. And apparently I thought that was allergy medicine. And you're going to take 3 ibuprofen. Then I'm going to guide you back to the bed, and you're not going to remember anything. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know when my body got back, but what I experienced was, he was like, okay, and he told me to let go. When I let go, I got sucked into the thought that he had given me. I was back in my room. I literally felt him guide me to the kitchen. I was like a walking zombie. Guide me to the kitchen. All I could think was allergy medicine, because allergy medicine will help me sleep, and it also, I have like the kids allergy medicine for like, and I had pressure in my head. So take a shot of allergy medicine, turn around, and I'm like, headache. So then I grab the ibuprofen, take the ibuprofen. He's with me still mentally, and he's like, okay, you're getting back in bed now. So he was literally building this for me. He was walking me into the kitchen. So my brain said, we are back at home, we're walking into the kitchen. So my body was there with them still. And that's crazy. Isn't that awesome? That's crazy and awesome. I don't know how they do that. I hope I can learn how to do that. That is sick. But then he was like, you're getting the allergy medicine. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, you're getting the ibuprofen, you're taking a drink, you're walking back to bed. And yeah. And side note, that I was, I was completely, like, I sleep nude. So I told them, like, I'm showing up naked, like, and I did. I literally showed up naked, and then I got cold sitting on that stone, and they even warmed it up for me, but then they brought a blanket for me. But then the rest of the night, everything I did was naked. But I'm kind of like, I'm totally cool. I feel great naked. So it wasn't a big deal for me. It actually made this feel like more of a birth process, because I was already nude. I don't know. I just thought I'd add that. So then I got back in my bed, covered up, and sure as shit, he disconnected. Like, I felt it just all went dark after that. I don't even remember falling asleep. I just remember him leaving my head, and boom, all went dark. And so that was me. I'm not receiving the gift or receiving the blood. And then also, I was told before this process that afterwards, so what I did afterwards was, we went into it was like introduction into, my boys are fighting, I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't know how long I stayed with them or what, but it was like, we went and all of us got together, and we all started to shift and like activate that. And like the first shift is like a big deal. And if you think we look like giant dinosaurs, no, we literally look like really pretty dragon human hybrids, like very symmetrical, big eyes, dragon eyes. The scales that we have are like they're almost like translucent, shiny under the skin. They're barely noticeable. They're sort of noticeable. And that our fingernails just a lot of us choose to, I noticed a lot of them keep them really short, but if you grow them out, then as this gift starts activating, they'll grow more into like a pointed, like claw looking, like they'll grow more pointed instead of flat. I don't know, I chew my fingernails, so I'll probably never see mine. But yeah, that was the whole, I had to preface this with the whole thing, because me showing up with the bruise and the sore spot on my arm from last night, and it just aching and burning, not burning like bad, just sore, and having that whole experience and asking to be awake for it, and having my consciousness, literally experiencing them putting a thought into your head, and how powerful that is, where you think your body is still in your house, but you're not. Okay. You're not. You are just being fed what you think, like you're being fed your reality. Like the fact that even went on was amazing. And yeah, and it was me and a guy and a girl, and then I don't really know. So after I had to split my consciousness off, and he let me go, and I was passed out. I don't know how long my body stayed with them. I don't know. I do remember seeing me shift, and we were all in a room, and then they were like vibrating like their vocal cords, and it was just amazing. And there was like the vibrations were just hypnotic, and then we were all sort of like shifting, like sort of our scales and stuff were kind of coming out, and our eyes were all shifted. And it feels sort of like spinal decompression. Like that's sort of what they told me. They're like, you might actually get a little bit taller, like your spine like stretches up. Like when the process starts, it like will sort of like stretch you a little bit. You'll become like a little bit more skinny, a little bit more tall. They said the only thing you really have to watch out for is as the process further along, that you will move. You have to make sure you're not too still. like like you will move so fluid, so graceful, and your movements will be like so that you'll draw attention to you. And they said that you just have to always consciously think about that. They said it's not really a big deal in this day and age because everyone's faces are in their phones and everyone's really not paying attention. But by chance, if you're like out in public, make sure you're like mimicking the body language you see around you consciously, because we won't consciously think to do that anymore. It's very regal, it's very fluid, it's very graceful. But yeah, that's the only thing that they said that you would really have to watch out for in public, is that make sure you're not standing too still or moving too gracefully. Just make sure you're aware of your body, because you might freak people out, or they might just like notice and think something strange or whatever. Like nothing bad. They'll just you might freak them out, okay? They might just pick up on the fact that you are not like them, like something's different here. And I was like, guys, that's like my everyday. It's like I already do that to people. I don't even do anything and they freak out. So we're good on that. But yes, thank you. Yeah, and then just like our teeth, the back row of our teeth. So it just looked like our teeth were a little bit sharper looking. And that's about it. Like, other than that, we looked very normal. We just looked like very, I don't know, if you were to take like a dragon and a human and make like the most perfect, beautiful crossing of that, that's sort of what it looks like. But not like yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Sort of like a vampire, but not. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, that was the whole process, guys. And then I literally woke up with a weird mark on my arm with like bruises and freaking like swelling. I don't know. And it's sore. Yeah. Which is very interesting. Very interesting. Like right here on this bone. And it's like swollen. I don't know if you can see that. Like here, it's like swollen. So, yep, that was that. And I will catch you guys later. Bye.